Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of the Dota 2 Weekly Update. My name is SUNSfan. Joining me as always is Reaves, and our special guest for this week is Luminous. How's it going, buddy?
That's me. I'm doing well. Thanks.
Since Reaves actually brought this up before we started, that we should have you introduce yourself because a lot of people might not know you, which I think is a joke. But since it's a formality,
I didn't say
we'll just do it anyway.
lot. I said I'm sure.
You insinuated
Just do
it.
it. Just do it.
So introduce yourself and tell us what you do for a living, Luminous. That'd be great to hear.
I'm a full-time student. I think that's what I do for a living.
Yeah, that is technically
Trying to get
true.
a master's degree, and I'm just kind of an average Joe, that kind of thing.
Average Joe. Interesting.
Average Joe.
Average Joe getting a master's degree, huh?
He
Average
wants to
Joe
be day
that's
9.
studying at school.
You know? Did day 9 get a master's or was it a doctorate? I can't
He
remember.
did. Day 9's at USC, and that's where I'm going to as well.
Oh
so.
man, you should tell him I said hi. He really likes me and Reaves. He gave Reaves a massage in person, actually.
Wow.
He hates.
I'm jelly, actually.
He did give me a massage. It was pretty amazing.
I was pretty jealous. But anyway, moving on to
Get a little bit of booze in him, and he is all kinds of.
Yeah, well, let's not get into the specifics because I'm sure he doesn't want us to tell him everything. But whatever. Anyway, this week quite a few things to update you guys on. The first thing, of course, Heroes, which we'll discuss here in a moment. First one being Disruptor, which actually there he is, as you can see on the screen. What did you guys think about this hero coming out? We'll start with Luminous since I know Reaves knows nothing of this hero.
I never played Disruptor, so I mean, I was in. I never played him, but I was around when people played, and it hurt me a lot. That's what I remember.
I see. Okay.
I think he's a really awesome hero. Whenever I see a new hero coming out, I always kind of think to myself, how's that going to change the pro scene? So gonna take a second to just go down that path. I'm sure in pubs he's like a devastating hero. I actually haven't played him in pubs because when he came out in Dota 1, that's when Dota 2 kind of start rolling, and I play him more, or I play Dota 2 more than Dota 1. So pub wise, I have no idea how that hero is gonna work out, but competitively, I think he's gonna be a high pick because we've seen a lot of Southeast Asian teams use it, starting from Philippine teams, Mineski, MBFC, all those teams. Southeast Asia, they will be picking that hero for sure. And also back in MYM Pride, which was a Dota 1 tournament that didn't use a CMO. They used this unbanned CMO, which means that you could pick some of the heroes that were normally banned, like Wisp, Thrall, and all the other stuff. And Thrall, or the Disruptor in this case, is picked quite a bit in that tournament, which had a lot of top European teams, the old Navi, the old MYM, and those captains did pick him. So I'm pretty sure that we'll be picking him here in Dota 2. He's a great AoE machine.
Yeah.
He wins team fights basically. So I don't see the reason why he isn't picked. And as per usual, whenever there's a new hero come out, he's gonna have 2 or 3 weeks of popularity, like how Chaos Knight is currently enjoying that popularity. And once teams kind of fully gauge how strong or how weak that hero is, then that hero kind of just go back to his rightful place.
Yeah. When I was making the intro for this guy, it took me like 20 minutes because everything it's very simple. There's no real not detail, but there's no convoluted, additions as far as skills are related or skills are concerned. So he could definitely work in a variety of lineups, and yeah, I expect him to see him played on some level at the very least. But what do you think of the Raptor or whatever in God's name he's riding?
That's all I could talk about, and it's awesome.
It's pretty.
At first, I couldn't decide whether it was a dinosaur, raptor, or a lizard.
Yeah, it's like a
I
combination.
thought it was pretty cool.
He has no arms though. Isn't that weird?
Doesn't need them.
Or maybe it's one of those small dinosaur arms that's only in the front. You gotta zoom in to see. I'm not sure if actually.
It's possible. I guess
It's a raptor with a beard. He doesn't need arms. He just uses his beard for power, speed.
Yeah, beard does give you power, no doubt about it. And one last thing that add about this guy is, at first when we're looking at the, like his not thumbnail, his portraits before they came out, I was like, why is he red? But I guess he's the brother of Axe, so it kind of makes sense. I didn't know that.
Well, they kept that. I mean, that was even in Dota. Like it was Thrall. So who was Axe? He was the other guy. Weren't they brothers in Warcraft 3 even?
Yeah. Well, when I say brothers, it could just mean the same race, but either way, something related on some level. So.
Yeah. Well, he was Thrall, which was the same. He was an orc. So was Axe in Dota as well. He was also an orc. So I think they're trying to keep everything as close as possible without breaking copyright infringement.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true.
I know nothing about lore, so I got nothing here.
It's all good. I heard you really like hentai, but that's for another day.
No such
thing as
that.
Next thing we're going to talk about, of course, is Undying, the second release, which I've been waiting for personally. He looks, honestly, not to sound, first of all, before we get into it, I think he looks awesome. He does look like he has a case of the downs, though. No doubt about it. But either way, he does look amazing. And when he turns into a huge golem, it's just... It makes me laugh, but at the same time, it's just amazing. I mean, his
it makes you
bowels are
laugh
spilling.
unless you ever saw that coming at you.
True.
Freaking terrifying.
That is true. I do particularly like these zombies, which have no legs. They're just crawling, trying to eat your anus and whatnot. But what do you think about this hero? I guess we can start with Reaves, since you actually might know something about.
Yeah, I mean, I know a little bit about Undying. Just because he was, while I was playing Dota, he was actually in the game annoying the hell out of me. His ult is easily one of the most annoying freaking things to deal with, and that's what I'm terrified of more than anything else on the hero. I didn't play him enough to know a ton about his other abilities. I just remember, like, you see that freaking totem shoot up, you run.
Lumi?
Yeah.
Can I call you Lumi? I mean,
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah.
kind of, I don't know, like a pet name, but I'll do it anyway.
People have told me that I've actually known females that has the name Lumi, so
Really?
I'm not sure.
Oh, that's even
When
better
I
then.
first
Beautiful.
chose this name, whether I went down the right path. But in any case, Undying as a hero, in competitive scene, he was picked very, very highly way back when. I think like 1 to 1.5 years ago.
Like push lineups and stuff, right?
Push lineups, anti-push lineups, which if you watch the pro scene, that's all we see nowadays.
Yeah.
He's really weak once we go past like the 50, 60 minute mark. So you guys pups out there, don't try to carry hardcore carry with Undying. I'm sure you could do it, but it's not the optimal heroes to do so. But back to the pro scene where games end in 25, 30, 35 minutes, his Tombstone is one of the scary spells that I deal with. Like, I personally play Crystal Maiden a lot, and when I see that Tombstone, I actually can't do anything.
Yeah.
They just chase you away. And a lot of weak support heroes, well, they're gonna have zombies crawling after them.
Oh, see, I play support, and that's why the biggest thing I remember is run like hell.
But
Like,
you can't,
see
because
that thing?
the golem, the flesh golem, makes you so slow.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty
you
ridiculous.
already got no movement speed, and you add another slow too. AOE slow.
I can't remember the last time I played him because I quit 2 years prior to Dota 2 coming out. But his skills were a little bit different. His ulti was not an aura, from what I remember. I think it was based on you hitting them or something. I remember he had Heartstopper aura at some point as well. I know his ultimate was like, oh, what was it? It was something completely different now that I think about it. But either way, he was a lot of fun, and everybody knows I love strength heroes, so very happy to see another one join the midst.
Yeah, Shannon has, or SUNSfan, excuse me. I'm confusing people when I call you Shannon, evidently. But
Yeah, it's okay.
You haven't shut up about the strength heroes coming out that you love, and this is one of them that I'll be happy that we can move past after you've played him.
Well, you should
50
look at the
games
heroes
straight.
they haven't released yet. Like 80% of them are strength. I don't know what.
And they're your
teasing me.
favorite ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Valve is trying to release all the quote-unquote competitive heavy heroes
Mm-hmm.
for international, and most of the strength ones are kind of boring or not really competitive.
Except for
We're thinking,
Centaur, because he's the best hero ever
he's-
made.
Well,
He's a man.
Hmm.
He's a man
that is
horse.
subjective to opinions, but Undying is one of those heroes that, despite being a strength hero, he's so nuky. Like his heal or damage, he heals up to 500, or that's a 500 burst. Like that's a level 1 Finger of Death if you want to kind of compare the damage like that. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, he has a lot of potential, no doubt about it. And he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But like you said, he does drop off towards the later stages. But we're not really seeing that too often anyway, in the pro games at least. But
Exactly.
Gonna be
let's
those
hope that
Aussie
stays that way.
teams.
I
The
prefer that.
heavy, aggressive Aussie teams are going to be picking him constantly.
Yes,
I'm
OC,
sure.
OCI, you know that. Next up, the actual update for Dota 2 enabled Rubik, Wisp, and Luna in Captain's mode. How does this change things? We'll start with Luminous.
Okay, Luna fans out there, I'm sorry to say she's not going to see any play. She was in Dota 1
Aw.
for ages, and she doesn't see play aside from random awesome strats that take advantage of her aura. She's a carry hero that has big burst damage with her ultimate early on, but there's just better carries out there. So I'm going to discard her as a competitive viable hero. We saw her from time to time back to that MYM tournament that I mentioned earlier, and during the unban mode, he was picked up. We've seen teams use this hero with tiny backdoor the hell out of the other team's base in Southern East Asia. So there's some cheesy strat. He's one of the most disruptive ganker in the game. He's absolutely insane. We know how strong Prophet is because of his global TP. Well, this guy TPs himself and another person. So insane hero. There's not much Dota 1 to go off of from, so I can't make a heavy call on that one. But I think he's going to be having big potentials. We're going to see him quite a bit in international too, is my guess. And the last one is who?
Rubik.
Rubik. Okay, no questions asked. He is going to be in the pro scene, doing a lot of dirty work. Again, we could go back to Dota 1, and he is picked up so very highly in a lot of Southern East Asian teams. And I know you guys what you're thinking. It's like, oh man, I could steal that Ravage, I could steal that Black Hole, and that's a reason he's going to be there. Probably not. Like most good pro players, when they use a Ravage, they will use Anchor Smash right afterwards. When they use Echo Slam, they will use Enchant Totem right afterwards. Pro teams are not going to let you just steal their best spell, their ultimate. But a lot of times, stealing a Fissure is good enough. Stealing a Shackle Shot is good enough. And his versatility, his laning ability is just absolutely insane. And we're going to see a hero quite a bit. He works out with a lot of items. He could be your mech buyer. He could get you 4-staff. He's just awesome. He's great. He's a great laner. We're going to see him quite a bit.
Reaves, any competitive insight of your own?
Yeah, right. Well, other than, like some of the things I was actually going to mention, but Luminous kind of Lumi, as we're calling him, went over a lot of that. I mentioned like before we started the podcast, I was talking about I didn't know. I heard in Dota 1 that Wisp was not available like for the captain's mode and turning play stuff, but I guess they added that in, so I lost that little thing we talked about. But Wisp, even in pubs, like if you get him with a decent ganker, he's been wrecking me in pubs. So I can only imagine a really tight 5-man lineup that's running a Wisp with a good ganker, or is just it's going to be really fun to watch, and I agree he's going to get picked all the time. Rubik, I don't know a ton about, so I can't comment as much on him, but I imagine just from like what Luminous said about him being able to, and not just that he can steal things, but the fact that he's causes constant communication for the other team of what does he have? Can he stun us? Can we cast this ability right now, or is he going to stun us out of it? Whose spell does he have? Like if anything, it's just going to cause some chaos. Luna, I agree with what he said, like, and everybody gets on us when I mention this, but one of the reasons, like, in Han, I would say it would be, like, more viable for that hero to be played would be that the ult is not reliant on the nuke. And in Dota, the ult is reliant on the level of the nuke. So, like Luna said, I don't think she'll be picked up a ton over other carries in competitive play.
See,
just because...
this is what I like about this group we have right now, because Luminous can tell us the advanced stuff. Reaves kind of like encompasses, like, no offense, what, I don't care if you take offense, encompasses the noobs and whatnot, right? So you get all the perspectives. I'm kind of in the middle here. So I will say, first of all, Luna is...
No, I wasn't even done.
You're done. Me. No, you are done. Good stuff.
Well, I didn't even get to finish my thought.
Finish your god off, or your thought, please.
What I was going to say is because of that difference in Dota, you can't simply build her with like her multi-shot and her extra damage from her aura and maybe one level in her nuke, because it's not going to be nearly as effective as like in Han, where you can just get one level of her nuke maybe just for the mini stun, max everything else, and then you still have an awesome ult. You can't do that in Dota, so she becomes a nuker carry, which isn't super effective as your hard carry.
I think she's, like Luminous was saying, she's pretty good early game because of her nukes and whatnot, but like you have to get a lot of farm with her to keep up. And I think she is a good carry late game, but the fact of the matter is, like, you need to stack Ancients. I think that's like a requirement almost. Stacking Ancients and taking them down and getting that much more farm. But pro teams aren't going to let you do that. So in that light, she's completely useless. But Wisp and Rubik are the two most intriguing, I feel like coming into this. Like, there's so much possibility. Like, with Wisp, you gotta always watch out for this gank with God knows who. Some burst damage here, like Tiny or Pudge or whoever. But you can technically, have a game plan for that. Rubik, on the other hand, you have no idea. Like, sure, you can, like, when you use your Ravage, you can Anchor Smash right away, like you were saying. But a lot of times, like, even with, like, Fissure and stuff like that, you don't know what he's gonna steal. So it's hard to play. That's why that hero is gonna be so good, I feel like. Just the unpredictability. And overall utilityness. Utilityness? Is that a word?
Nope.
That is a word. Congratulations.
That is a word now. It's checkindictionary.com.
Absolutely.
But more Luna hate before we move on.
Oh, by all means. By all means.
Again, she one of the best carries in public games, and I'm sure most of you guys have tried it out.
Yes.
But the reason that she doesn't shine in pro games, she's just so squishy. Like, even with the Black King bar, there's just better carries with the BKB. She needs a bunch of items, and I just don't see her outclassing a lot of the de facto carries of day, things like Morphling, I mean, Morphling could one-shot a person or go massive late game carry. Multiple ways to play that hero, and all very, very effective. Luna is kind of a one-way street, and that street is not often somewhere you want to go. So,
unless you're in a pub, because she's so
unless you're in a
fun.
pub, then by all means.
She's tier 1 in pubs, guys.
Yes,
Let's not get ourselves.
So good.
Next thing we're going to talk about is the... Actually, let me get back to this Cyborg map. Oh, by the way, I don't even think I mentioned it. cyborgmap.com for amazing blogness for all these updates. This is where we get most of our updates and whatnot. The buyback notification. I have been waiting for this forever. I know I don't even cast that much anymore. I know Luminous obviously does quite a bit more than me. So we'll start with you, Luminous. What do you feel about this? Because this is like the biggest problem when I'm casting.
Yes.
And I don't know who buys back. I have to look through the chat. It's not unprofessional. It's just kind of ghetto, for lack of a better word. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, and I love it, the fact that Valve is doing every patch or something for casters. And as a caster myself, I get giddy when looking at it. And you're right. Whenever there's one big Roshan fight that lasts for like 5-6 minutes, and teams are buying back after one after, I always keep saying, everybody and their mother is buying back, and I don't really know exactly who, but I'm sure there's 7 or 8 people buying back. But
right.
Now we know, and this is absolutely gorgeous. Now I'm not sure if you actually know this is actually for public games as well, or in game in general, or it's just a casting thing. That's what I'm not
sure. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
The way it looks on Matt's blog makes it look like it's going to be
in game,
encompassing like everything.
Both. Yeah. Okay. Then that's great.
It could be wrong. Now, the one thing I will say, I don't think 5 seconds is enough, to be perfectly honest. Like, there's no point. Like, why? I mean, not that there's no point in not making it like 20 seconds or something. Like, what's the downside to that? You know, because fights last longer than 5 seconds, and you're not gonna be looking at the top bar the whole time. But it's a good start, obviously. Something I've been waiting for personally. Makes caster's job a lot easier. But I feel like it should leave it. I mean, what is it? 5-minute limit, right? Or 5-minute intervals between cooldown for the buyback, so like they should probably make it longer, is what I'm saying. But regardless of the fact, obviously a very good change. Anyway, next hero, nobody knows, but Linnea looking very finished, as I'll show some art for her real quick. Her particles are done, her icons are done, and Cyborg's been saying she's been coming out for like a month now, so that means she's not going to come out ever, probably. But one thing I will add, something I noticed on Reddit, the top post, the art for Disruptor, in the back you can see Nyx Assassin just staring like a little pedophile that he is. Does that mean he's coming next, is the question.
I don't know. I'm actually very excited to find out. One of the coolest thing about Dota 2 is, even as a veteran Dota player, every new week there's like a small Christmas present. The hero that I've been waiting for, very competitive, viable, has not came out yet. But if it's Stealth Assassin, or not Stealth Assassin, Nerubian Assassin, that's cool. It's going to be very, very happy, because they recently changed his spell in Dota 1. And after they changed it, we have never seen actually what that spell does, how
it's
it
like
works.
The blade mail type thing.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a blade mail, but it's for AoE. It works. Well, not really AoE. I don't even know how it works exactly. See?
So which one did they get rid of?
His
they
passive.
got rid of the bugs.
Oh wait, I quit when they had the passive armor, cadaver or whatever God's name was called. Then they changed it to the Weaver's old skill, kind of, with like bugs that you can silence people with. Right?
Okay.
And I might say that the bugs thing was the reason that people picked him in the first place, because he had a level 1, 2 or 4 or 5 seconds of silence, which no one else could ever have. Dirty. Now that they removed it and add this interesting passive onto it, I'm not sure what he's going to get picked. So,
well, one thing is for sure, he does have a lot of burst damage either way. So he'll be another pub stomper.
Yes, he will. I was about to say, I'm not looking, because I was never amazing with him, but I'm not looking forward to supporting against him. Oh, so many CM deaths incoming.
Indeed. Well, you don't play CM. Don't.
Not well.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Actually, this came out today. Russia and Northern Europe server region is now live. Although it's technically not in the game yet, I think, because I just checked and it wasn't in there. But obviously, this makes no difference for me because I play on West and East, and I'm sure Luminous and Reaves are probably the same.
Europeans rejoice.
Yes, but Europeans will definitely rejoice about this.
That was like for us, it was when we got the South America and they moved the Brazilians down. For them, the Russians.
Yeah.
Why hating the Brazilians, man? Come on.
We don't need to get into that.
Okay.
We're not racist or anything. But,
no, it's just...
Except Reaves, it might be.
moving on.
Well, actually, on the Russian thing, like I rarely play on the Europe server, so I don't really see where the issue is coming from. So, blame me for ignorant American, but this is actually a cool thing, the fact that they're adding more and more server. I don't like the fact that they're kind of spreading all the Dota players out, but if it means everybody has more lag-free games of Dota, then I think overall it's a good thing. So, very happy to see them add, like, there's random servers I didn't even know. Like, they have Hong Kong servers, like, sweet stuff, and they have a whole bunch of other random Southern East Asian servers. So, again, I want all the Dota players to be friendly and play together, but apparently that's a fantasy because we hate Brazilians too here.
Well, it's not that we hate Brazilians or they hate Russians. It's even though they say they do.
It's a team game, and
no,
they don't.
It's the language barrier. That's all it is.
Yeah,
like, the Russians don't speak English. The Brazilians don't speak English, or they refuse to, or whatever the case may be. So that's gonna cause issues. What I'm waiting for is LA servers. I don't understand like why everything's in Seattle. I have 100 ping. That's the best ping I get. It's not bad. Like, it doesn't feel too bad, but I should be getting 30 ping. You know, I mean, I think that's kind of weird, but eventually
I have a question. I have a question for Luminous. As a caster, like, one of the things we saw back when we used to cast the game we're not supposed to mention on these casts. Now, since, like you said, they're spreading out like the pro players kind of thing. Do you think this is going to cause a lot of heartache when they come together to play against each other, like choosing servers and flipping coins to see which server's first, and Dire versus Radiant, which server you're going to be on? Do you think it'll cause a lot of heartache for the teams?
It's already happening right now. Like, a big part of hosting a pro game, and I have to go through this like every other day, is one team's like crying about, oh, we want this server for the first game, and then we'll coin flip for the second game. So most tournament organizers now, they just have a strict rule book written out. Like, okay, if a team from this region is playing a team versus that region, that is the server. If you don't like it, well, deal with it. So it's all being happened. Like, back in Dota 1 days, oh my god, it was a nightmare. You would have a game that starts at 7 o'clock, and you don't actually start till like 8:30 or 9 because everybody's trying to test servers.
Well, and I'd imagine the team with the worst lag would want Dire as well, just for the slightly better access on the map.
Some teams want Dire, some teams want first pick, and it's hard to argue, which one is actually more advantageous.
Dire.
Well, I mean, first, second pick. That one's a little bit hard to argue in terms of that.
See, I like second pick personally, but I'm a terrible player, so it doesn't really mean anything coming to me.
The team with second picks has more wins, so.
Yeah, the only reason I say that, not to get off on a tangent, because I always do this, but if you have second pick, chances are you're going to have access to more, like, there's too many heroes to ban that are tier 1, in my opinion. So you're going to have access to more straight off the bat, so I don't, like, first pick's almost like a disadvantage to some degree, unless you just leave everybody open, which is another whole strategy altogether. But anyway, on to cosmetics, which... Actually, I never got your opinion on this. What did you think about the store in general?
Oh man, it's a thing that keeps me playing pubs. Like,
really?
In Dotacomtiers.com, which is the site that I work for, we have our own kind of in-house place that we kind of play casual games. Not exactly at a high skill, but we have a lot of in-house games where 5 people play in a semi-competitive nature. We buy wars, buy chickens. It's a great time, stuff like that. But I rather play public games than that because, well, public games give you items.
Yeah, that's true.
For that game that apparently we cannot mention here, I love the way they're doing things. It makes me want to play more games to kind of earn something. There's a sense of accomplishment. And that's exactly what the item drop is. Now, I'm not a big fan of the drop itself because I'm always getting boxes. But or the level up itself don't actually give you any good items, I feel like. It's just common gears. So I feel like if they put a little bit more emphasis on the level up itself, it makes people want to play more.
Yeah.
Well, and we kid around about this too, that like Dota, Han, LOL, like the big, like as far as games go, the most disruptive for friendship games ever. Like because you can really pinpoint that guy fucked up the whole game. So the nice thing about the items is win or lose, you have a chance of getting an item. It kind of softens the blow when you lose. So you don't see as many friendships torn apart.
It makes you mad when you win. Like, God, we just destroyed their faces so hard. And of course,
the
guy that went 0-12 in the other team gets a freaking mythical item. That's great. You know, that's terrific.
I have a theory going, and it seems to be proving correct every time I play a public game. Is the guy that feeds hardest or plays bad in general gets the item.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Here you go. This is to make you feel a little bit better for being awful.
Everybody's a winner.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want my damn item.
Yeah. They can definitely tweak some stuff, but overall, you know, it is a reason to actually pub now. So.
Yeah.
Treasure chests make me sad face.
Yeah, that is true. But anyway, starting with the cosmetics, Skeleton King is getting ready for cosmetic items, which I'm very, very. I mean, he's a strength hero, so obviously I love him automatically. And he's naked here. I think he looks pretty sexy. His chest is huge.
So much cool stuff they can do with Skelly, though.
Yeah.
Like, compared to some of the other heroes, so many cool things we could see on him.
Yeah. So then after that, I don't know if this is controversial, but we're gonna bring it up regardless what people think. The courier has, well, I don't know like how they're gonna be adding this exactly, but this prototype, if you will, has the defense logo. So more ads in the game, which first of all, I think it's good to a certain extent. I think they got rid of some of them actually because it was a little bit too cluttered in certain spots. I don't know which ones it were. They were, but this one adding to the courier. What do you guys think about that?
I like it. I mean, the thing is I think Valve knows that the pretty things, the thing that makes stuff stand out, people are gonna want to buy. I mean, more than anything else, I mean, you buy something so that people can see it. Like some of the little things we've seen, like who is it, Kunkka, that you can buy white gloves. Or you can
Michael Jackson gloves, yeah.
Yeah, no one sees that. No one really wants that item because no one sees that. So stuff like this is people are going to want to buy it, or they're going to want to win it, which makes more people play games.
For this one, I don't know if you can buy it. To be honest,
it's just something
this is just
you
for
can
the
win?
tournaments.
Oh, it's just for the tournaments.
Yeah.
Then I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
I mean, it goes back to your point of people want the items or the cosmetics if they see it. Have you ever seen the Yak Courier? It's tiny. How do you even see it, like the defense logo on the flag?
That's
unless
true.
you actually scroll in and zoom in, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's actually really hard to see. Now, with that said, as a kind of monetary aspect of the game, it's great to see more attention to this kind of detail. When they added the logo in front of the base, as well the flag, it's kind of cool, but teams are, I'm not sure abuse is the correct word, but they sometimes put funny JPEG, like I think one of the Southern East Asian team put a picture of Ash and Pikachu, which I thought was cute, but from a sponsor perspective, I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it. Whereas here, it seems like a little bit more professional in a sense, especially for a tournament logo. I think why not? It's there, it's tiny, it's hard to see, but it adds a little bit more, and I don't see any downside to that.
Yep, I don't see it. I mean, as long as they don't clutter things up too much. But like I said, they have remedied that, and I think it's a great idea. I mean, give anything you can try to convince sponsors to, sponsor more tournaments is a good thing. So no problem with that whatsoever. Next up, we're starting to see. Oh, first of all, actually, this wasn't on the sheet I gave you guys, but the Pirate Captain announcer pack. Did you guys?
Amazing! I'm so happy they added that.
Yeah,
the first one that I'm like, oh, I really want that. Like compared to some of the others that have come out, that's the first one that I'm like, oh, I would.
Well, this is
that.
like the only. Yeah, this is the first announcer pack that was purely on somebody that wasn't involved with Valve in some way to come out, or is going to.
Do we have their name? Well, congrats to them, by the way.
That's actually Bingo Bango. Yeah, it's Bingo Bango.
Bingo Bango, congratulations.
Did you listen to this one, Luminous?
Not yet, but
so you'll have to after we're done.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Wait. So you're saying someone who is it one of those like submissions that they do have on the workshop?
Yeah,
correct.
It's on the workshop.
Wow.
Yep, it's
that good.
Yeah, so
okay.
Not to spoil things for the future, but me and Reaves are going to be working on an announcer pack of our own. But
wow,
we're going to be starting with like the kill streaks because it's easy to make and it's we just want to see people
test
like
the waters.
it. Yeah,
we're trying out a couple ideas.
This one, it's the one that's the extended version, as in it's not the kill streak, but it's literally everything. Like your tower's under attack, so very long, very takes a lot of work
arduous.
To do. Yeah, arduous indeed.
You guys should sprinkle it into the top 10 to see if people like it there. Why not? Hey, it's
just slowly inch it into people's minds.
Well, maybe the fails. Maybe the fails would make more sense because I think our announcer pack might be a little bit fail.
That is where I shine, you know.
Indeed. Next up, we got now this one's really awesome. Crystal Maiden can carry a Yule staff. How freaking awesome is that? Seriously.
That's the only time she'll ever have a Yule.
That's true. That's true.
She's got no gold to buy. Actually, buy a real one.
It's true.
But you can put this on. I'm sure they can put this on several heroes, though. You know, like an AA maybe. Or does he carry anything? I can't. No, he doesn't carry anything. He could carry something.
I'm going to ask a potentially stupid question for the sake of the podcast. Now, in Dota, when you picked up a Yule's, had graphical changes on the heroes, correct?
No. I think the only graphical change for item-wise back in Dota 1 was Axe Scepter, which, you brought up a very good point. Like, when you buy a Yule
I'm an
Scepter,
idiot. Yeah, I meant eggs.
when you buy a Yule Scepter, why don't the hero actually hold a Yule Scepter? I'm
Yeah,
not
well,
sure if
that's
this
what
is
I was.
word-
That's what
yeah,
I was
yeah.
kind of moving towards. I'm like, wouldn't it be neat if, like, some of the items
Exactly.
that you bought, like, let's say that you're playing Jug and you buy a Battle Fury, your sword turns into an axe. It would be awesome.
Well, I guess it makes no sense because you buy a Battle Fury and then a Butterfly, and suddenly you're dual wielding or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then you buy
Dual-wielding
a
axes,
Divine
Luminous.
Rapier, so you just have like a rapier on your back. I don't know. See, it makes no sense after you.
Yeah, what if you have 6 items? Where do you put
Exactly.
them? You're just like freaking carrying like hundreds of pounds of freaking weapons.
Well, they
Or you
can
buy,
they can designate an item spot, and if you put the item in that spot, that's the item you carry. I need the
Should work for
programmers.
Valve. Actually, that's
Programmers need to work round the clock to meet my demands.
Yeah, but yeah, Aghanim said actually it's a good thing you brought that up because they did have visual changes in Dota, and I expect them to eventually put. That's just like one of those polishing things, that they'll put in
Right.
eventually. So I expect that at some point. Next up, we got now this one freaking awesome. Tide Hunters. Like what is that even called? The wheel of a ship. What is that even called? There's a name for it that I'm retarded.
Stern.
Anchor?
Oh, stern. Is it?
It's not anchor. It could
Take
be
the
stern.
stern.
Yeah, it could be. So he's. Are you guys looking at the picture? It's on his It's around his neck. So it's Kunkka's stern, if that is the right word, which I don't trust Reaves for some reason.
I'm looking it up.
So it looks awesome. And then the second one, which I thought looked pretty cool, was it wasn't his. Let's see. You know how he carries a fish? Instead of that, it's the head of a hammerhead shark.
It's called a helm.
Helm. Really?
Yeah.
The helm of a ship.
Yeah, like the person that steers is the helmsman.
Huh, interesting. So either way, more things for Tide Hunter. Apparently his items are going to be boundless, freaking infinite items for Tide Hunter. Everybody loves them, which I can't fault too much. And then something that was added, is going to be added to the game, that was another user-submitted thing, which all these have been. Glacial Tiny, which was very popular on Reddit. What do you guys think about that one? If you've seen it.
I mean, it's one of those ones that was released that people have been talking about since day one, wanting it in. So it's not a huge surprise. I like it. I don't think it's worth flipping a table over, but I think I'm happy it made it in.
I don't even know what that means.
Really? And you spend this
Flipping a
much
table.
time on Reddit? and you
It's
don't
worth
know?
flipping.
I said it's
a
not
table?
worth.
It's not worth flipping a table. What does that
In
even mean?
excitement.
Who does that?
Okay.
on an excitement level of 1 to 10 table flipped.
Cover a table in $1 bills and flip it. You'll understand.
Okay, we can try that next time you're over then.
All right.
Luminous, what do you
I'm
think
more
about this one?
6 tables out of 10 on this one. It's
6 out of 10?
yeah.
Some of them,
I'm
honestly.
waiting for the Santa Claus Pudge.
Yeah, seriously. Well, anything with Pudge actually would be golden, like a
Some
chef
of the more
Pudge.
iconic heroes don't have cosmetics yet, like Pudge, Crystal Maiden. I don't understand why.
Shower
Well,
cap.
I think
with
they're
a
doing it slowly but
big
surely.
robe.
But yeah, the Pudge one's kind of questionable because that's the most popular here in the game, not
Exactly.
even close.
One of yeah.
Yeah,
Fisherman-
some of these don't look like when he's a baby, Tiny. I'm talking about. He doesn't look as good, but
Yeah.
when he grows up to a big boy, like his beard of ice just looks freaking sick.
That does look cool. Yeah.
Okay, and last but not least for the cosmetics, Turtle Rider Courier. What do you think of this?
Amazing. I love it. First time I saw it, I was like, oh, it's the first. I keep saying this is the first thing I want, but it is the first courier release that I'm like, oh, I would really like to have that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for me.
My question is, where is the advertisement logo gonna be put on?
Bigger question
On
is,
the chest?
how is he gonna fly? Like, is it just gonna be a floating turtle?
That's what I was just gonna ask. Yeah.
Does he grow wings in his anus or something, and he just starts flying?
Maybe he just flaps really fast and then he'll fly.
Yeah, it could be a magic turtle.
There you go.
But yeah, he does.
It
look
couldn't
freaking
have come
awesome.
out at a better time either, since that one turtle just went extinct.
Yeah,
I can't
did read
remember the
about that.
name of it, but
It was like
yeah.
the lonesome turtle or something.
yeah, you know what would have been cool on Valve's part is like the first, if you can purchase this courier. Are they doing that yet, or you can't?
No, it's not out yet.
So when they,
They
do
need to
that,
figure out how to
they
make
should
it
say
fly
like
first.
a portion of each purchase goes towards like saving turtles, since that one
Oh,
turtle went extinct and we'll never have that turtle again. I think that'd be really cool on Valve's part. I would buy it more quickly if they offered something like that.
Mm-hmm. And getting on to the Dota scene news, which it's been an interesting week to say. Last week we barely had any news, but now it's been kind of the opposite.
I feel like that's. I run a news show called the Dota Weekly Show, which hasn't been weekly.
I've been waiting for that, man.
It hasn't been weekly because there was nothing happening, and even this week, I'm not sure if it's like even worth it to make a show.
Yeah, it's slim pickings for sure. Last week was literally nothing. We had to get some. Anyway, M5's manager was arrested in Amsterdam, and I don't want to get too into this because there's so much speculation, and God knows what's even true. But the fact is, he was arrested. There's questions of why, because some FBI takedown, I don't know if it was embezzlement, I forget what it was, which may or may not be related, so we're not going to assume anything. But any reactions to this?
I just kind of lulled when I first saw the post, and then it's like, why is this even a big deal? He's just somebody that's kind of associated with the organization M5. Like, we care about the players first and foremost, and if there's some interesting interaction with the players and the manager, that's a drama worthy, then we'll talk about it. But I was like, okay, well, he got arrested for doing something bad. Well, who cares? You know, that's my reaction to it.
Well, for me, it's one of those things that kind of shows where esports is going. You know, because you're right, we shouldn't care, but we all do. We want to read about it, and it's kind of the same thing. Like if a manager of a baseball team, if something like this happened, it would be all over the news. So it's kind of nice to see esports kind of starting those trends that we've come to know and love from like baseball, basketball, when funny like political things happen or like a manager gets arrested for doing something. Since we're not assuming, I'm not gonna list my ideas, but I think it's good for esports. I think that people being interested in the behind the scenes stuff can only help the sport.
So like kind of like Luminous's hentai type thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't see why this reference should be brought up.
All right. Next up, we got Team Zenith is now sponsored by Razer. Now, this may not seem like a big deal. Well, the only reason I wanted to bring this up is because I have a little venting to do. I just feel like I don't know if I want to. Okay, I'll just say I don't care. Razer just seems to sponsor literally everybody. Like everybody.
Is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing?
No, okay. From their perspective, like it's great that they're helping other people, but from like a team's perspective or an organization's perspective, doesn't it feel like it's kind of has a cheapening effect? Like, oh, you're sponsoring us, but you also sponsor literally everybody else. You know what I mean? So it's cool that they're very active, and honestly, the most active sponsor in esports, as far as I know. But is there a limit to being too much, do you think?
I think
if you're paying up, that's all we hear about, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you know, they're sending them to tournaments. They are giving them whatever they need, computer, maybe a salary, you know, whatever that may they be paying them. If they're getting paid, I'm not sure. I'm sure that Zenith ain't complaining.
I'm okay with it as long as they don't start mixing teams. Like you can't sponsor more than one team, obviously, and stuff like that. I'm okay with them jumping around and sponsoring because it gets their name out. Of course, they're going to want to sponsor as many teams as they deem like, okay, you're worthy of sporting the Razer name. We'd like to sponsor you. Why wouldn't they? It's marketing for them. So no, I think it's fine that they're stretching it out. Like you don't, let's say, I'm sure they're in NASCAR, for example. I'm sure there's a sponsor that sponsors a certain car that also puts up billboards at baseball stadiums. Like I don't have any issue with it. So as long as they don't start sponsoring multiple teams, I don't have a problem.
Fair enough. All right, and last news of the week is Mouse Sports is the official reserve team for the International, which means they all get flown out to Seattle and they won't play, is what this really means. Like now, from a tournament standpoint, you have a $1.6 million tournament. I can understand needing a backup team, but to some degree, I don't understand because what's going to happen? Team's going to show up. Oh, we just came down with carpal tunnel syndrome on all 5 of our players. We need a different team to take our place, kind of thing. Like, in what scenario does Mouse Sports actually play? Now, it could just mean that they're scrimming, which would be great. It's just like a scrim teams to help, you know, everybody get warmed up. But in what scenario do they actually play in the tournament?
Terrorism.
I'm knocking on wood right now.
Yeah, me too. That's fucked up.
Because I'm gonna be there, so I don't want any terrorists any nearby, because I'm pretty scared of them. But in any case, maybe if a player like have visa issue couldn't show up,
Or explosive diarrhea. That's what just came to my mind. Okay.
And couldn't show up for 3 days. I mean, it's great that they're flying people out, and I'm sure Mouseborg being one of the more iconic team with iconic players helps in that effect. It just adds more atmosphere to the tournament as well, because Sexy Bambo, Sing Sing, they're going to be very, very good people to have interviews with, just talk to. I don't see any issues on that aspect. Monetary wise, Valve, again, it's a $1.6 million tournament. I'm sure a couple plane tickets is kind of cheap stuff to them.
True.
Well, think of it like this as well. What if something did happen?
Exactly.
Do you know how the viewers would react if Valve was like, yeah, we're just going to give this team a bye because the other team... People would go ape shit. So they need a reserve team. And
I would venture a guess that Mouseborg may not even be the only reserve team. There might be a second reserve team. So
agreed.
Yeah. I don't know any inside from
Luminous, Reaves, and SUNSfan. Just screw your casting, Luminous.
And two locals. Just grab two locals.
Yeah, two local Seattle.
We're good.
People.
We're good.
Yeah, that'll be good. Can upset somebody, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, the last thing I wanted to add, and again, any feedback is always welcome. I think we're going to maybe be adding webcams to this in the future. Let us know if you're interested in seeing my very Jewish face and Reeves' very cuddly Storm Spirit face. But
Miles.
The last thing we're going to do, it's kind of a for fun type thing where we ask the guest of honor. And again, I think maybe to start off this week, we can just do this ourselves as well, just trying to make this quick. Something we don't know about you, Luminous.
Apparently there's a hentai thing that's
yeah, you didn't even know that about yourself. Yeah.
About it, but I'm not sure if people know about this part. It's actually not real, so I'm not sure if that's the interesting part. Is it not or no?
No, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying there's no
the hentai. Is that what your answer is?
There's no hentai. That's just...
So it just came out of the blue, basically.
It sort of is, yeah.
It just exploded the internet.
That is some interesting word choice, but yes.
Yes, that is true. Pun intended, indeed. Reeves, anything for you?
Other than like people that haven't noticed it yet, on our fail videos, feel free to support me. In my spare time when I'm not doing stuff with you guys and I'm not working at my job, which is another thing I guess nobody knows. I'm a donor tech at a tissue bank. So that's what I do for a living when I'm not working here with the Dotacinema stuff. And other than that, I'm a musician. I play out around town, and I am building a band, so to speak, right now and playing my own stuff. But for right now, I have a YouTube channel where I play covers. You can actually see the link at the bottom of any of the fail videos, and I would love you guys for subscribing, supporting me, and there'll be more content coming out.
Ooh.
Okay. And
what instrument do you play?
Everything. I play guitar and I sing.
No, he plays everything.
Nice.
Plays the flute.
I dabble.
Plays his penis. Just everything under the sun, basically. All right. And
I'm really good at that last one.
Yeah, the last thing for me, something you don't know about me. I grew up in the Middle East for 10 years, and I've been to over 25 countries, and somehow in all of that time, I have not picked up a second language.
A true American.
Interesting. Yes, true American indeed. Well, I know a little bit of, I don't know. Let's see. I can count to 10 in like 4 languages, but that doesn't really get me anywhere. Like, oh yes, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, okay, no more. I don't know anything else. So that's basically it. Any shout-outs you guys want to give out other than Reeves? So Luminous, any shout-outs?
Oh, shout out to Dotacontiers.com. That's the site I'm working for. Great guys over there. We have great content over there as well. So if you'd like to check them out, please do so. And of course, shout out to Dotacinema for giving me the opportunity to come here and talk to you guys.
No problem.
Which, by the way, actually, I'm the guy that is at the beginning of every guide video.
Yeah.
Which
has
I've
this
always
podcast
seen...
been approved and?
It has been approved and expected by Luminous.
That's become its own meme now. It's awesome.
It's because the way I say it, I have an accent, So it's like this GUI has been approved by.
Yeah,
anyway,
we had to make you redo it because everybody thought you liked guys.
And then after I did it, the first video I saw on, it was like it's still the same thing. So I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it was good. I loved it either way. I love it when you like guys and when you like guides. So it's all good. All right. So anything else to add before we wrap this up? Either of you?
No. Thanks for coming on, Luminous.
No, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, a lot of fun. We'll see you at the International, and by we I mean me, because Reeves is too cheap to go.
Oh, here's something fun. Let's do this. Viewers, feel free to comment and let us know who you'd like to see on the show, because we're going to be switching up people to bring on. list people if we can get them. We'll do our best. You know, we're here in America, so Europeans, it's kind of hard for them to get on because it's like what 4 or 5 a.m. right now.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing because 90% of the candidates are in Europe.
Yeah, but let us know who you'd like to get on here, and we'll do our best to get them.
Indeed. All right, thanks guys. Until next time, we love you long time. Yeah, love you. Thanks, Luminous. Love you.